What's up, pals? Welcome to another episode of the Your Random Pal channel. Well, pals, it's a few days post-Christmas. We're about to head into a new year, 2026, and it's been a while since I've done a video. Obviously, I mainly do car show videos, but it's wintertime, nothing really going on right now. But it's been an even longer time since I've done a video in my Americana series where I bust out the family photo albums and give you a window into the past. Now, this series is dedicated to the memory of my mom, Ruby, who passed away in 2022. Since then, I've been kind of going through photo albums and checking out the various pictures of the past. But in this particular episode, I'm going to showcase the toys of my childhood, the 80s and 90s. Now, if y'all lived through that, you'll have very fond memories of these toys. And if you grew up later on, well, then you'll get to see what you've been missing out. Obviously, the 80s and 90s were a time where video games became very popular. You'll see a little bit of that. You'll also see a lot of car stuff because this is a car channel and I'm a big car guy. But another thing notable is the Jurassic Park toys that came out around when the first movie came out. Those are quite valuable these days. Some of these toys I've kind of looked up on the internet and really couldn't find pictures of, so maybe some of these toys you'll see pictures of for the very first time. If you remember these toys from the childhood and whatever favorite one you like, drop me a comment in the comments below or let me know what your favorite toy was from that time period. And without further ado, let's roll the slideshow. So here we have my first motorized vehicle, the classic Power Wheels Jeep. Look at this thing. It's called a Sandblaster. It's a big wheel, but not like you typically think of a big wheel. You think of a big wheel with that trike-like look with the big wheel in the front. That Sandblaster, I've not seen any pictures of it on the internet, so it could be pretty rare. Love my ride-ons. You can see there's a beautiful little trike, blue and white paint scheme. I love blue. That was my favorite color as a kid growing up. And see how happy I was. And I had some little pedal power to go with. That picture there is taken at Marine World in California. Dolphin stroller. And we got a German go-kart, kit car. But that's it's not gas powered or anything. It's pedal powered. You got to pedal it yourself. But it's a little go-kart deal. And there's my first bicycle, the training wheels. So I was learning how to balance myself. Me and Grandma. And I've got, look, a Fisher-Price lawnmower, but it doesn't mow the lawn. It blows bubbles everywhere in your face and all that good stuff. Roller skates. Learned the roller skate. Never mastered that one. Kind of hurt myself doing the roller blades, inline ones. There's one of my old playhouses. Might have been a Fisher-Price. Look, it's decorated up for Halloween. Kind of spooky, little haunted house. Got a little bit of everything. A service station, a post office, a telephone on the side there. What better thing to do in fall than play in the leaves and break the leaves, all right? Well, that's a present is taller than me. Another big present. Probably some kind of ride-on toy and those things. I don't know what else it could be. And there's my first gas-powered automobile, a go-kart. It's called a Dingo IX. It's by Manco. 9 horsepower, very fast. And when I couldn't find toys to play with, I went into the cabinets and pulled out pots and pans as a kid. Yeah, look at me. There's my 2 grandmas. Double trouble right there. My little toys. That's some of my first toys. Maybe y'all remember some of those. Maybe not. But there's Sesame Street Cookie Monster. There's another Sesame Street toy. There's a building that kind of you could pull apart, and there's the inside of it. You see Big Bird there. That's probably pretty rare. There's a Smurfs toy back in the 80s. So not too many of those floating around these days. And here I got a bunch of different little toys. You can see Mickey Mouse there. Always popular. It's been popular forever. And that is a Fisher-Price zoo toy right there in that picture. Little bird on there. And Fisher-Price toys are big. This is a little carousel with some plastic discs, so it's like a record player, and the carousel would spin around. There is a toy airport. I don't know if that's a Fisher-Price toy or not, but it's pretty cool looking. Pretty large and charged toy. Oh, look at that. The stuffed dog. Like telling him, no, no, you can't have it. There's another dog. I don't know if that's a pound puppy or not. There's pound puppies were big in the day. Teddy Ruxpin pillow. If you had the Teddy Ruxpin doll back in the 80s, you needed the pillow. And there's a Raggedy Ann Andy kind of deal. Koala. The koala bear plush. Look at me. I don't even know if I'm a year old there. Probably not. And that's when you got toys in a balloon. Anybody remember that? Chippendale Rescue Rangers. We got some kind of construction playset there. Playing with tools. Now I do that as an adult. Work on cars. With the Legos. Legos are still popular these days. That was one of those old like wooden train sets, tracks, and wooden blocks. And check that out. Corvette. That's a plastic. There's a Richard Petty car on a transporter truck. I haven't found any pictures of that anywhere else on the internet. Rare, really cool toy. A lot of those plastic toys are probably thrown away. They were big in the 80s, the plastic toys. There's Teddy Ruxpin, the very famous bear of the 80s. Kind of like Smokey the Bear, but the 80s version. And he had a cassette player in him. No MP3 player, no Bluetooth back in the day. And there's Casey Robot. That's a cassette player deal too. That was before the compact disc came out. So if you like the robot toy, there you go. That little green car in there, I still have to this day, the little bitty green car. There's Micro Machines. And there's that classic Power Wheels Jeep again. Coca-Cola, look at that little toy. That's a nice one. It's the Hot Wheels play set from back in the day. More Hot Wheels, more Matchbox. You can tell I was a car guy from birth. Probably a lot of y'all did save the boxes to those toys. I did. I saved some boxes to some of my toys, but not too many. Travis Tritt bus in the package, brand new. I think they had some other country music singer tour buses and die-casts as well. Dragster pack. There's a bunch of Micro Machines, which I still have to this day, but I don't have the Van City one anymore. And check that out, Land of the Lost Jeep Cherokee. I really like that. And then the Inspector Gadget car that transformed into a van. Done sold those off, but they were worth some money. And the Jaguar. And there's a Typhoon. Those are RC cars. I still have the Jaguar. The Typhoon I actually returned because the batteries didn't last very long, and I didn't have that one very long. There was a cool slot car track, but it's just rescue vehicles. And the old train sets were popular back in the 80s and 90s. Not so much today, but they take up a lot of room. But they're nice to put around the Christmas tree, as you can see here. That was a Hershey's set. Different from the one with that was in that box I showed you. The 1/18 scale die-cast cars. Still got plenty of those at home. They have car pictures and the little bitty cars I don't collect anymore. Still got a few of them. I sold a lot of those off. Dodge Ram. That's a monster truck right there. That's a pretty big toy. Here we're getting into some of the Jurassic Park toys from the first movie, which those are pretty valuable. Those are worth some money. The iconic first movie. That's a board game. And here is the Command Compound. I still have the box to that. Don't have the toy, but the box. And then Playmobil toys. Kind of hard to find as a kid. There was one store in town that sold them. But as a kid, I loved Playmobil. And you can see there's some of the ambulance. There's a city bus, a car, train set that's Playmobil. Nice German-made toys. Hard plastic. Held up pretty well, very detailed. Came with figurines and all kinds of little accessories, little parts to them. And if you're kind of wondering, well, I had glasses, I had a patch on in that picture. I had a lazy eye as a kid, so had to have some help with getting that squared away. There is the Playmobil camper. That had a lot of little accessories with it. Little sports car. Love that little sports car. There's a Playmobil airplane, and that picture was taken at the old spaghetti factory. Sega Saturn. That was a big deal back in the day. When that first came out, that was a $400 game system, as I remember. It was a revolutionary back in the day. Nintendo 64 steering wheel as an aftermarket company. So the steering wheel thing was pretty cool. It was like a primitive simulator. Now they got some really very realistic simulators these days. I was excited about that Destruction Derby game. Peak Performance, PlayStation. They had all kind of video games back in the day. That's a computer mouse, TVR Tuscan computer mouse. My mom got me that for Christmas one year. Look like a mobster there. I got a little Ferrari lapel pin. I got some money for Christmas. And here's some of the playground equipment from back in the day, back in the 80s. Some really cool stuff. It probably doesn't exist anymore. There's a whale. A motorcycle in that previous picture. And look, Toucan Sam. Little springy rides. Used to see stuff like that at McDonald's back in the 80s too. There's my dad's old car back in the day. It was a little Baron. Digging tool. Pretty cool. Those metal slides. Those things would heat up in the summertime. And this is from Chuck E. Cheese back in the 80s. And it was taken in St. Matthew's Mall. St. Matthew's Mall in Louisville, Kentucky had a Chuck E. Cheese. It was the skee ball games. They had a bunch of skee ball games for some reason. And there he is, that dirty rat, the Chuck E. Cheese mouse. These are cool ride-ons right here. Looks like a Corvette. I don't think it says Corvette on it anywhere. Reminds me of the Corvettes the astronauts got in the Apollo mission. There was 3 special Corvettes made for them to drive to work in. And who didn't want a trampoline or have one back in the 90s? Getting into birthday parties. This is how you decorated back in the 80s with these pastel balloons and streamers. You got the tablecloth with the cars on it, hanging out with your friends. I got a lot of presents as a kid. There's another birthday party pic. As Mickey Mouse. Like I said, Disney's always been popular, probably always will be. That one is Tiny Toons. There you go. A closer look at it. There's like a cookie cake. Buster Bunny. That one is a locomotive cake. Kind of hard to see. I'm excited about something there. What could it be? Look at that. Big K soda back in the day. My 12th birthday. And there's a neighbor girl, Brittany, celebrating the birthday with me. Her parents bred these dogs, the Huskies. That is a purebred Husky that I got for my birthday as a kid. His name was Boris. Long time ago. Valentine's Day pictures. I got stuffed animals. Oh, taking little Susie out for a ride in my Sandblaster big wheel. She looks scared. She knows I'm going to drive fast. Easter time. That's what Easter was like back in the 80s. That Easter bunny looks pretty mischievous right there. Yep. That is one mischievous rabbit. I was so small at one time I could fit in the Easter basket. Can you believe that? All dressed up for Easter Sunday. And that life-size Easter bunny right there, bigger than life-size one, I still have. I sometimes put it in my car to prank people. I got right-hand drive cars, if you've ever been watching my videos for some time. Now, that is at some mall. I don't know what mall. The anticipation was killing me. I couldn't wait to open Christmas presents. It was Christmas in the late 80s, early 90s. Probably mid-90s right there. That was a nice tree from Sears. DuckTales bed. Bed sheets and blankets like that you don't see anymore. And this is how I decorated my room as a kid. Printed out pictures of cars, and die-cast cars, a Geo Tracker. My dad had a Geo Tracker. That was that bumper sticker. Pictures of women and cars everywhere. There's Grandma, and she apparently got some old country dolls from back in the day. Dad getting a Microvision toy. There's a Mickey Mouse plate set. And what did Dad get here? Looks like one of those Avon cars. But back in the day, sock and bopper. I got that in my house right now. There's Mom at Christmas time, probably back in the 70s before my time. There's a picture of her. I like to decorate with tinsel back in the day. That's a big thing. Looks like Mom got a sewing machine for Christmas. There's a before my time picture. Obviously the tinsel. I like to decorate with tinsel on the tree back in the day. And there's my little cousins. The Twin Tornado Arena. It's a fun game. And a Minecraft Hot Wheels game. It's a little bit somewhat newer toy. Look at this toy. This has been a lot of fun. You wear a basketball goal on your head and you throw balls in it. There is the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I think it has a reproduction. And now, if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you might recognize the little lady in these Christmas time photos. In these photos, she was about half my height and half my age. You'll see her in various videos on the channel talking about cars and stuff. It is none other than, drumroll please, Cousin Ash! There she is, holding her Reese's Cup pillow.
And if you never want to miss another Random Car video,
remember, ring that bell.